Well, we're back in studio again.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey. And we got an interview today.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I know that we've talked about how we're looking forward to having guests again. We've gone through a lot of episodes lately without guests just because of COVID. And it's so great to be able to have guests back in.
Exactly. So we've got a very interesting guest who's going to talk to us a little bit about vegetarian food and food that gets delivered to your house.
Fantastic.
Do you ever wonder where your food comes from? That's what got us started on this adventure.
In each episode, we ask experts to weigh in on the food topics that matter to you, from growers to producers to chefs.
And I challenge John, Darren and you to learn more about your food and the stories behind it. From our hub on Vancouver Island in the beautiful Comox Valley, join us as we explore our edible valley.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Edible Valley podcast. I'm chef and host Jonathan Fraser.
And I'm Darren Howlett, co-host.
Just co-host today?
Just co-host today.
Not vegetarian?
No, although, I eat about 50% vegetarian, so
right.
Sort of on. So yeah, I'm Darren Howlett on the fence.
Well, maybe we can switch you over a little bit here.
Sure.
And start on that. So, you want to introduce our guest?
Yes. Today we have Maya Varela, one of our coworkers, somebody that we both work with, but also has a business of her own that she's going to tell us all about. That just fantastic that we want to hear more about.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you here. And I would love you, in your own words, just describe what your business is.
Absolutely. We are a vegetarian meal delivery business.
Excellent.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you offer people?
So we offer pre-cooked vegetarian meals delivered to your door every week. No cooking required, no shopping or cleaning. All the meals are ready to eat. You just need to heat them up.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Why haven't I signed up for this?
And so how does that work then? Like, do people order a full week's worth of food, or do they order?
Yeah, so right now, all of our ordering is done by email.
Mm-hmm.
We are working on an online ordering store, but at the moment it's email. Every Wednesday, I email out a new menu that contains 2 entrees and 1 salad.
Mm-hmm.
And you order for that week. The order cutoff is Sunday night. I then go do all of my shopping at the local farms and pick up my produce. On Monday, I cook all of the food, and on Tuesday, I deliver it to your door.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great opportunity for people to fill themselves full of great food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this? What drew you into doing vegetarian food and creating this business?
Yeah, well, I was never a vegetarian growing up. I loved my meat growing up. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I started learning more about vegan and plant-based foods.
Mm-hmm.
It started with the health benefits. I learned about how good it was for your body and improving your health and your sports fitness. And then I started learning about the environmental benefits, and that was definitely the biggest factor.
Right.
I've always considered myself to be an environmentalist, caring about the environment, but I realized I really couldn't call myself an environmentalist with the diet that I had at the time.
Sort of conflicting there.
Exactly. Yeah, I felt like a bit of a hypocrite. It didn't really work.
Right.
Becoming or just eating plant-based is the single biggest thing you can do to help climate change and help our planet.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that was really the biggest draw. Is I was like, okay, I need to incorporate more of this into my diet, and how do I do that?
Yeah.
Which then I started learning more about plant-based foods.
Mm-hmm.
And once I cooked that food and realized, I can make it taste pretty good.
Yeah.
I wanted to break the stereotypes around vegan food. I mean,
right.
it's, people hear vegan and they think bland and tofu, and
right.
It's not necessarily.
Yeah. I honestly hate writing on a menu vegan.
Exactly.
Vegan dish,
yes,
because people are like, nope.
Yeah, immediately it puts that into their brain. So
whereas some vegan things are amazing.
Exactly.
Like it's just the flavors and what you can do with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm always against the trying to create something that's not.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Like the fake meat.
Oh, the supplementing. Yeah.
Don't fake.
No,
don't
yeah,
pretend that
exactly.
you're eating meat. You don't have to. Just eat really good food. And,
exactly. Yeah.
I guess the health benefits are great too. Like,
Totally, yeah.
I think that's one thing we always talk about in this podcast is eat more vegetables.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think every diet I've ever looked at, everything, I think that boils down to, and you know, they all changed a little bit, but it's
Mhm.
like eating more vegetables makes
Yeah.
you healthier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Like any of the fad diets or any of the whatever, all of them. Yeah. I guess that's sort of across the board. Exercise a bit more, eat more veggies.
Mhm.
Simple.
Huh.
Well, that was a great podcast.
So, but what compelled you to turn it into a business? I mean, that's more sort of where I come from too, is like quite often I'll sort of do something and I'm like, I want to share this with people.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, well,
Is
that's pretty much exactly how
Yeah.
it went. I mean, after learning about the benefits and then realizing that, I can make tasty food that is still really good for you and really good for the planet, I was like, well, more people need to get on this train. I mean, it's not necessarily about everyone becoming vegan.
Right.
I just wanted to make it more accessible to people.
Yeah.
Because of how good it is for the planet, more people should be doing it. But it's intimidating to get into vegan foods. Not many people really know how to incorporate it into
Right.
their lives. So my goal was to make healthy, sustainable food more accessible for everyone.
Great.
Yeah.
And how's it going for you? Like,
It's going really well.
Yeah. How long ago did you start doing this?
I started in January of this year, so
Oh.
2021.
Oh, yeah.
So still very new.
Yeah.
So right in the middle of COVID.
Started right in the middle of a pandemic, yeah.
Fantastic.
Which, had its ups and downs, but overall it was actually very beneficial to us.
Right.
Because of all the restrictions with restaurants.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to leave your house. I deliver it right to your door.
Well,
and
yeah, that's something I'd like to touch base on too,
Yeah.
is about how does delivery work for you? Like, I mean, that must be the really draw for a lot of people that you come right to their house with it's a hot meal?
it's not hot.
It's not hot.
Cold. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, exactly. You reheat it.
Which is fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's great, but it's right there to your house.
Exactly.
You
yeah.
throw it in the oven for a minute and you have a beautiful meal.
Ready to
So,
go. Mm-hmm.
excellent.
Yeah,
And
the
so-
delivery is. Yeah, sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, do you have like a steady client list? Like, do you keep adding people that are the same people every week coming back, or are you like, are you finding that people are just in between things, or I don't know, like what are you finding that way?
I definitely have a lot of customers that order every week or
Oh, wow.
every few weeks.
Yeah.
A lot of like really good customers that have been with me from the beginning.
Wow.
I also have a few people on subscriptions, so they pay for about a month at a time, and then they don't have to worry about getting the order in before the cutoff every week,
Right.
and it just comes right to their door. And then I have people that just try it out here and there, or when they
Right.
know that they have a really busy week lined up, they pre-order some meals so they don't have to worry about dinner for a few nights.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
And
so-
then my email list is continuously growing.
Oh, that's great.
People wanting to know more. Mm-hmm.
So do you find you're spending more time cooking or more time doing emails?
Well, that's a hard one. I mean, like, in pure hours, it would be cooking. I definitely spend more time cooking. But in just the amount of time of, like, every day I'm on emails, responding
Wow.
to emails, sending emails, whatever it is, because everything is through emails. It's definitely
Right.
a lot of time on that. Yeah.
And I can imagine too, I may be wrong, but I can imagine too that because you have a menu that's about accommodating people's needs, instead of just saying, here it is, I can imagine that there's a lot of going back and forth with people needing to, make sure
Yeah.
of this or adjust for that or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are pretty accommodating with allergies. I mean, the menus that we do put out are,
Yeah.
they are kind of what they are, but
Yeah.
I'm always try to be super accommodating with people's
Right.
allergies and back and forth on what I can change and what I can't change,
Right.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
And so you said that you do 2 items a week. Is that because you're giving options dietary or like trying to accommodate other allergies, or is that just here's 2 things, like is there
a
any-
little bit of both.
Yeah.
So I have 2 meals, and I try every week. I make sure that one of them is vegan and one of them is gluten-free.
Oh, yeah.
So because I have quite a few customers that are vegan and gluten-free, so I want to make sure that there's at least one every
Yeah.
week. Often there's 2, but always at least one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have 2 because then for my common allergens, I can make
Right.
sure that 1 is always good.
Yeah.
And then 2 is also about the max that I can really handle on my own at this
I
point.
get it. Yeah.
and giving people an option.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I want to get people excited and hungry right now. So let's, let's start talking about some of the items that you're doing. Like what has been on the menu
or
over the
well
last little
received,
while.
or
Yeah, absolutely. So I have about 25 meals that I rotate through. So about every 2 to 3 months, you'll see repeat items. A lot of curries. So I have like Thai curries and Indian curries. Malaysian coconut curries, like lots of different of those. And I do a lot of bowls as well. So I have like a falafel bowl where we make homemade falafel patties, and it's served with tabbouleh and tzatziki and tahini and all this stuff.
I'm getting hungry.
I have burger bowls where we do different vegetarian burger patties. We have like a sweet potato and black bean patty, and it's served with roasted potatoes and greens and tomatoes and a chipotle sauce and lots of different bowls. I really like sushi bowls as well.
Okay.
And, kind of anything that we can, people know that they like, and then either make it vegetarian or it already is vegetarian, and kind of play it up.
With a lot of those curries, you're already
exactly.
That's a very strong vegetarian based beginning. So
which makes it really nice.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well, I'm hungry. We should have ordered. We missed the Sunday cutoff.
So did you and I don't know how, I'm not trying to make this sound like you went into this without planning, but did you set out with a plan? Did you say, this is how it's going to start, this is where it's going to go, this is what's next?
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually came up with this idea a few years ago, and it was before the pandemic, before COVID. And my idea was to do vegan food and deliver it to people's homes. I didn't have an exact, way how to do it. And then COVID-19 hit, the pandemic hit, and the restaurant that I was working at closed down. So I had a few months of like nothing to do. And I was like, man, this is the time. I have the free time. People can't go to restaurants. So then I spent that month really like executing a good business plan, get everything figured out. A lot of my parents' friends I used as like testing. So I did lots of food that I would deliver to them to, see how meals went over and everything. And so I spent about a month doing like a fake launch. Is that the right word?
Yeah, sure.
Where I delivered 2 meals a week. To all of my parents' friends to see how it went over and like kind of work out the logistics of things. And I figured this seems to be going over really well. Everyone loved the food. I could do it all on my own at the time. And it worked really well. So I was like, okay, this is something that I need to commit to and actually work out. So then I stopped doing that, and I spent the next few months trying to find a kitchen to rent out and getting all of my licenses and everything figured out, which of course I was doing during a pandemic, which proved to be a huge issue. It's definitely a little bit harder to start a business in a pandemic, but
a few more signatures. And
exactly. And you can't you can never just go to City Hall and talk to someone. Like it's emails and phone calls and so a little bit more complicated, but and then a big part of this is I want a sustainable business, which is the plant-based, which at the time I also really wanted to do zero waste containers and everything, which when I started during COVID, it wasn't feasible to reuse containers. It just didn't really fall into the food safe plans. Exactly. So I started with recyclable and compostable containers, which is what we are still using today. But my plan going forward is to implement a zero waste reusable container program. So hopefully within the next few months, I will have that worked out. I've got the okay from the health inspector to as long as I have the proper sanitation, which I do. So we'll do glass containers and little glass mason jars. And it will all come, in a Rubbermaid tote with ice packs. And so it can just be dropped at your door. Zero waste. Nice. And then we just switch them out. So for your next delivery, you put your pack out and we switch it out for you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the goal going forward. Find more ways to be more sustainable.
Wow.
I remember that's when I started my business was that was it, trying to get that sustainable and be and being in an ice cream industry, they're not.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, like they just want to throw everything out. Like sorry. I shouldn't say ice cream. I should say gelato people. Which I found there's two different people, because they're like, wood spoon is gross.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, you can't eat gelato with a wood spoon because it leaves flavor. And you're like, I'm like, oh, you guys are killing me.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, like I understand like that, trying to find products and it's a rabbit hole when you start going down.
Oh, it totally is. I know it's honestly way harder than I imagined it to be. When I originally planned this all out, I thought, I'll find some good containers and everything. But people don't want plastic containers, which I totally understand. I don't really want to support the plastic industry either. So trying to find a container that was cheap enough for us to actually use,
right,
and then also worked in a big level.
Sure.
Wow, worked in a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Industrial.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just finding something that worked actually was really hard process. I think I found the right containers. Unfortunately, they do have plastic lids,
right?
But it's a small price, and then
you're reusing them, so it's
exactly.
Think about how many.
Yeah, and everything else is glass, and so
Wow, that sounds wonderful. So let's talk about your kitchen, because you said you found a lot of difficulty trying to find a kitchen.
Absolutely, yeah. The kitchen that I found is honestly a dream come true. It's an amazing kitchen. It's located on a Nizfree farm in Royston. So they are like an organic farm that grows all of their own produce and everything.
We've had them both on.
Yeah, we've had Chantel and Thierry both on different homes.
And
they're amazing.
I want to bring them in. Like, I could almost listen to them every week, because they're like, they know so much stuff about.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
Do.
Yeah, I mean, Chantel is like an herbalist.
After we did that episode with her, she said like after we finished recording, she's like, hey, why don't you stop by one day and I'll show you around? And I was like, you know what? Yeah. And so I went out to the farm and she took me around, and I swear for like 3 hours, she was just like, and this is this, and this is this. Yeah, exactly. And then I was just like, so much information. I loved it. I soaked it all up. And then she's like, oh, come in and have lunch with us. So we had lunch, and then, it was a great day. She's so sweet.
Yeah.
So how do you get work done there?
Oh, I know, right? Well, it's a totally different like kitchen environment than I'm used to. I mean, all of the kitchens that I've worked in prior have been, like industrial kitchens where there's not really any windows, and it's like a dark cave almost.
In the back corner of the restaurant.
Tucked in the back.
The door opens and a little light comes in.
Yeah.
The order comes in, you're like,
Exactly. So this kitchen has huge windows that look out onto the farm. There's so much sunlight that comes in, and doors that open right up. And it's lovely, honestly. It's not a huge industrial kitchen, but it's what I need.
It's health code or health board endorsed. And approved, and
exactly,
it's what you needed.
It's what I needed. Yeah, I don't need anything fancy really, and I'm able to buy produce right off of them. So that morning I can literally show up to the farm and go pick some kale from the garden, or all of my herbs are growing there, so I can go pick herbs right out of the garden and put them in my food minutes later. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
And it's amazing that flavor difference between herbs that have been cut fresh right out of the garden, and then
versus
stuff that you bring
in a fridge for a week.
Exactly. A huge flavor difference.
I always say parsley is the most amazing one. It's like fresh parsley out of your garden.
Exactly.
Like, it's got this beautiful flavor to it, and then you go in the grocery store and you pick up a head of it, and you're like,
and it's bland.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is missing something.
Exactly.
Oh, parsley flavor, right?
Yeah. Parsley does have a flavor. It's so that's pretty incredible.
That's amazing, yeah. And so here's the other thing: is let's talk a little bit about your cooking background.
Sure, yeah.
Like, how did you get into cooking? Like, let's not just talk about vegetarian, but like when you first got into cooking your meats and got into it. How did that all happen?
Well, I started as a dishwasher when I was 15 years old at Local's restaurant. Yeah.
You're kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I started. Just as a job. I had some friends that we all worked as dishwashers, and it was actually a good time.
Wow.
And it was, Vernald at Local's offered me a position to come start doing cold side. in the kitchen, like preparing the or dessert plating
Yep.
and that kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, that's going to be better than dishwashing. So I did that and I loved it. I mean, it was, my first look into the kitchen, and it was, chaotic and stressful. And I was like, yes. The people that work in kitchens are super fun. The energy is always high and just goofy. And I loved it. And at that time I was in high school, and they were offering a youth and trades program.
Yeah.
Where they offer, you graduate early from high school and they pay for your first year of a trade school of your choice.
Wow.
Which was just such an amazing opportunity. Even if I wasn't really interested in trades, I felt like I couldn't pass it up.
Right.
So I decided to do my first year of culinary school. And I took my first year of culinary school, and then...
Where'd you do that at?
Well, I did it. So how the youth and trades program works is the culinary program is done through Camosun College, which is in Victoria.
Right.
But it's based here. So there is a culinary teacher, Tammy Williamson, who's amazing. So every week she would do our practical things where we would learn different cooking skills and cook different foods. And then we did all of our theory work online.
Oh, wow.
So we had quizzes and tests and all that kind of stuff that we did on the computer.
Yeah.
And then we would go down to Victoria to Camosun College to do our exams, our midterm and our practical exams.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And I just loved it. And I finished my first year and, loved cooking, and was at that time still working in restaurants and just loved the energy and decided to keep going. So I did all 3 years of culinary school and got my Red Seal certification when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is pretty young for...
Yeah, it's very young.
You got me
chef,
beat by
so,
2
yeah.
years. So. And I thought I was young. So.
So then I had my Red Seal certification and was working in restaurants here, which I loved, but kind of wanted, a change. And that's kind of when I learned or decided to start a business and put that skills and experience towards something else.
Amazing. So you plan on growing this business? Or
Yeah.
What's,
I do,
What's the future hold for you?
I mean, I don't even really know. At this point, I mean, the most immediate future in change for us is implementing this zero waste program.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing moving forward that I'm going to be changing. And right now we do deliveries from Royston to Merville.
Oh, yeah.
And everywhere in between. And then I think in the future it's expanding our delivery zone a little bit, expanding how many meals we do.
Right.
So right now we just have the 2 meals. I'd like to maybe do a few more, whether that's just 3 meals or 4 meals or even up to 5 meals.
Wow.
Adding in some different aspects, like maybe we do some vegan baking and add that as an option.
Yeah, there's so many ways you can go with it.
I don't really have an exact plan of where we're going. It's just as I go, I'm kind of learning more and more things that I can bring to it.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic.
50 staff, delivery trucks.
Franchise,
all up and down North America.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. I can see so much potential. That's just sort of the way that my head works whenever I get caught up in the whole idea. Now I'm like, you could go this way, you could go that way,
exactly,
you could do this.
Yeah. We're gonna finish this podcast and Darren's gonna be like, bring up the proposal.
Yeah.
I think you should be doing this. I think you should go this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Well, all the best to you. I mean, I whatever way you do take it, I'm sure you're going to do well with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you in here and chat a little bit about this.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And it's
maybe now that we've talked about it so much, maybe we can tell the people that are listening where they can find it. Or how they find you.
Let's get some addresses and
for
phone
sure.
numbers and get people on the email list for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. To become part of the email list, you can either go to our website, which is www.live-kitchen.ca. And on there will be an Order Now tab, which just you put in your name and your email, and it sends us an email to to send to you. It's
Right.
a little clunky at the time. Or you can just email us at Maya, M-A-Y-A, at L-I-V-E, -kitchen.ca. Just email us saying that you want to become a client, or you want the order form or whatever, and we will add you to our list. And then every week you'll get a new menu.
Right. And so there's no obligation. People
There's
can
no
just
obligation, no.
look into it and find out what's
Absolutely,
going on.
yeah. Just send us an email saying you want more information, and we have a whole thing to send you.
Great.
We're also on Instagram at L.I.V.E.kitchen.
Okay.
And on Facebook as well.
We'll type that out in the description.
I'm like, oh my gosh. It's a little confusing.
I did have one question actually. What is your
absolutely.
price range for your products?
Yeah,
there?
good
What
question.
are you looking like? What's it going to cost someone to get a meal? from you?
Absolutely. So all of our meals are $14 each.
Okay.
So we just kept it even across the board.
Straight $14.
Straightforward $14. That includes your delivery, your tax, everything.
Oh, wow.
And that is for one serving,
Yeah.
which is meant for one person, although they are big portions, but meant for one person. And then we also offer some like family plan deals where you
Right.
order 4 of the same meal and you get a little discount.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the future, once our online ordering is sorted out, which has been a huge pain, but once that comes to be, we'll have subscription options where it'll be a little bit cheaper when you become a subscriber.
Right. Wow.
But still $14 when you compare that
$14,
to
Any restaurant.
Exactly.
or going into the grocery store and buying
Sure.
anything.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. $14, and that's a healthy meal, and it's delivered to your door. You don't have to cook, you don't have to clean.
It's amazing.
And it's environmentally friendly.
And it's environmentally
as
friendly.
As friendly as you can possibly be. So right?
Exactly, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, everybody should check that out, I think. And get in at the ground floor before it gets too big and she can't afford to bring you in.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, this has been a great episode. Thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed it. And we'd just like to thank everyone for listening to the episodes of the Edible Valley podcast. And don't forget, you can help us out by keeping the podcast going by checking out our Patreon site and giving us a little support to keep going and talking to all these wonderful local people who produce such amazing local foods within our region in our Edible Valley.
Great.
Thanks for listening.
And that wraps up another episode of the Edible Valley podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and a special thanks goes to the local businesses that help support our podcast. They make it possible for us to showcase your local food community. We'd love you to follow us on your preferred social media at Edible Valley, where you can check out our blog, find recipes and tips, behind the scenes, and of course keep a lookout for where we are going to turn up next in your Edible Valley.
Valera.
Darren.
Varela.
Uh,
How come I keep switching that around? Varela.
Varela.
Barbarella. Maya Varela. I got that. Varela. Okay. Let's go.
This is going on the end.
Nope.
And this has been an Edible Valley production.
Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. Ready again?